Hello dear friends, today I'm gonna tell you a very interesting saga of how these aliens that you've seen on the Hollywood movies, they will become real and they will start landing en masse with their ships. And that will be happening very soon, most likely in this decade. Actually, days ago I found even more evidence of how accurate all these prophecies of Otrok Vyacheslav are. And the chances that you will see this unbelievable circus yourself very soon are very, very high. So, expect in this video massive landing and disclosure of so-called alien ships coming to unite humanity and invite us to join their so-called alien federation. And also what Otrok Vyacheslav told us about alien abductions and what to do if we notice something like this approaching us. And at the end, about the chief of all so-called aliens, which as we'll find out are not really that much aliens, as they are our old friends from the previous episodes. During the tribulation, some remarks make it look like as probably it will be somewhere in the middle part of the tribulation. Otrok Vyacheslav said that huge motherships will come towards the earth, and those initial ships only few people will see, not everybody, but later on from them the smaller ships that come, they will be in great numbers, and those everybody will see. They will start landing all over the world. And this is the so-called disclosure for which the so-called alternative media has been preparing you for years now. And the story that these so-called aliens will tell is that bad guys of the universe are after us, and we have decided to unite with the people of the earth so that we can win against evil together, and to show our good wish towards you, because by the way we have very advanced technology and we know all about healing. We will heal you to show that we are good ones and we mean good. And they will start installing these cabins, really a whole lot of them, all around the world. Inside they will have equipment which will be very, very similar in terms of looks to what we currently use for photofluorography. The stage will be set exactly as in Hollywood to create the impression of healing. And there will be healing going on as well. Just what they will not mention is that the sicknesses that they will be curing, they have introduced them before that, and they have actually developed them in their laboratories, because these so-called aliens are no other but the evil spirits who are in bed with our governments since long time, and they work on their dark projects of this type for quite some time now. And because they are also shapeshifters, of course they will look exactly as Hollywood prepared us that they should look like. And I was absolutely shocked actually a few days ago when really by chance I found out that already the fake alternative media is preparing us exactly that this and that type aliens, the type is irrelevant because they're all shapeshifters anyway. They're from the Federation of the Good Races, and they're planning to come and invite the Earth to join the Federation. Wow! I felt as if a brick fell on my head. I said to this person, "Are you okay after all the torture and abductions with their implants and all the pain they have caused to the abductees and the people who are of considerable number, by the way, who are in pain all their lives because of the implants? We don't even know how that affects their consciousness. After so much evidence for that over the years, are you out of your mind to suggest that these entities, the friends of our governments, are our well-wishers But they will be using false evidence, I will tell you how, and they will have a great success with this project. Now, although the so-called UFOs will be landing all over the Earth, their number will be especially big in the East, where by then many people would have still not accepted the marking. In the West, almost everybody would have been marked by them, so they wouldn't be much interested in those people anyway. But even there, like for example, we have eco villages, people who are relatively well prepared. They may resist in the West, but also this type of people, they would usually go for the alternative media and would be all excited about the disclosure and go out of curiosity. And curiosity killed the cat. And the cat was lucky, but the people who go in the cabins for so-called healing, they will want to die as the cat, but they won't be able to. After the temporary healing, of course, they will get even more sick shortly after that. I don't know, will it be like weeks or months or maybe even a couple of years, which I doubt. So sickness they will get anyway much more, but that will be a small part of the entire package. What they will be trading is remotely similar to selling a ton of gold for 2 cents. Even it will be a worse deal than that even. Because these machines in these kiosks that they will be setting up and for which the people will be lining up like crazy in long lines, taking their children along. What this equipment will do, it will really, when the people go inside the cabin, they will come out a different species. They will already belong to the devil race. Even to the point that after they come out of the cabins, they will be immortal, which will be quite of a problem actually, because the suffering which awaits for them after that will be such an agony that many of them all the time will try to commit suicide, but it will be not possible. It will be not possible at all, because this race of demons, they are kind of semi-material as well. This is the word he used, Vyacheslav used. They come from the lowest regions of this huge earthly structure that we mentioned earlier, and they don't really have this life circle like us, and for our standards they're like immortal, like ghosts, that we know from many other also older sources. Vyacheslav gave the example of his own hometown, Chebarkul. It's not a big town, just 40,000 or 50,000 people, something of that sort. He said even here they will set up one kiosk very near to the place where he used to play with the children, in between the buildings. And after their campaign, only a couple of people from the entire city will remain human. It will be so successful, this devilish idea with the UFOs. And curiosity will play a big role, a very big role in this. People will say, let's give it a try. You can't just give it a try, actually. It will be too late. Now, Otrok Vyacheslav always used to say that aliens, in the way people think of it nowadays, on the earth, there aren't any, there will be none, and there have been never, because the creation of the Lord is like this, that every race lives in the world created for it. And that is exactly the case. In the video about the Sumerians, I give the information from the set material of how actually when out of earthly consciousnesses want to experience earthly life, how do they come here? They come by taking birth in a human body. And in the ancient Vedic books, you can find countless stories explaining exactly this, that when entities from other races want for some reason to come here and do something, they always do it by taking birth here. It's not this entire thing with the ships is a setup. When they want to come just for a sneak peek, that also Vyacheslav explained, when these devils, which actually live in the lowest regions of this earthly structure explained in the previous episode, if they want to have a sneak peek of our reality or do something quickly on a short notice without taking a birth, what they do is they grow a human outfit, like human skin. People go to the hospital and they are telling them, we need a bit of a skin to test you. But actually it goes for their devilish laboratories, and they will grow an outfit resembling another human, and then the devil will enter it and will mingle with the people, and nobody will recognize him. And in the past, when people knew better what is what, they had other words, evil spirits and angels, for entities from other realms. But now they decided to mix it all up in the alien categories, so that the difference between good and bad is blurred. So it is not technically really incorrect, if we think about it, to call these devils in the UFO aliens, because they come out of the realm in which we know, at least the portion of the earth we call our home. They come from outside of that, so it's not technically wrong. But the problem is that when we use the term alien, then the entire epic adventurous thrill created by Hollywood and the entire curiosity and the question, are they good or bad, these things are associated with this very name. That's why Otrok Vyacheslav was very much against this term, and he insisted that they should be called with their proper names, which is evil spirits. He also told about another episode to his mother, in which she will be involved. By the time this UFO campaign starts, the harvesting campaign with code name UFO starts, he would mean quite, he will be way more famous, and people in Russia will listen to what his mother says, because she will be still alive. And when in Moscow the government, they realize how much the entire nation listens to his mother and how much she means for the entire nation, they will not even invite her to Moscow. They themselves, the government, will visit her in her house to show as if respect, and they will bring these fat files with evidence that it is all aliens and your son didn't tell it exactly correct. But he will be famous by then, because everything that he would have told would be happening exactly as he told it. So they will come with all that evidence, and she will see all that. And Otrok Vyacheslav said that they will have such things in those files, and so many of them, that even you will be confused, and for a moment you will think, well, maybe Otrok Vyacheslav, maybe he made a mistake only for this thing, maybe they are really aliens. Even she will think that for a moment. But eventually she will tell them that, sorry, I don't intend to call them aliens, and then they will take her to Moscow. And that will be the most difficult time in her life. And they will organize this live broadcast on the first and most popular TV channel on Russia, which everybody watches. So it means this will be happening still at the time when they have electricity over there. They will groom her for this broadcast, and they will tell her what to say. And it will start, and then what will happen, that I don't know in what means they will be convincing her to say the things they want, but in the moment the broadcast starts, her mind will be emptied. Even if she wanted to, she would not remember all those things, all the lies they told her. And then she will recover all her memory, and because the broadcast will be live, she will tell to the nation once again what were the real words of Otrok Vyacheslav. And instead of a setup, it will turn into an opportunity, one more opportunity for the nation to hear the truth. And all this evidence, it will be, of course, all lies or truth mixed with lies as usual. It begins to surface already. This entire branch of the alternative media, which actually consists often of sincere people who are themselves misled, not necessarily they're bribed, or many of them could be actually devils in human skin. One never knows. So all these preachers, they are already having as main evidence that the UFOs are our well-wishers. The fact they say that too many people report good results after meeting them, and they believe that they're spiritual and they feel happy and they're okay. And this is the evidence they say, and it's quite a lot of them, they say. I don't know if they are really such people, but actually probably they are. How do we know they are even people? First of all, how many are there? Nobody can check. And most likely the people who you will hear give testimony in positive way about their experience with the aliens, this will be possessed souls who will sound sincere because they are sincere, just they will be not aware that they are already dictated by the remote server what to say and what to think, and because they're weak, they take this dictation as their own thoughts. It's not that all races besides human are evil, it's just the ones that who will have access to us to freely mingle with us during the tribulation. They will be only the bad ones, and angels will be intervening, of course, but they will because angels, they also take whatever form they want. They will not want to portray themselves as aliens when they get in touch with the people whom they help, because that's already a polluted term. It's already a fiction created by the dark forces. So the angels will not use that type of association when they contact the people whom they are helping. So all the UFOs that you will see during the tribulation, they are all bad, no exceptions. Yes, we heard from Alexander Paramonov that all these races as well will go through the tribulation and get polarized, and that suggests that amongst them as well there will be souls who will go for the truth, but I guess their number won't be much. Like, for example, the Greys, which are in overall a bad race. I mean, they mutilate cattle. It's obvious that they are evil, but amongst them there are also good souls, it seems. Well, if there will be so little percentage of sane people remaining on earth amongst the people, although we are a way more divine race than them, then what kind of small percentage will be amongst the predominantly evil races? Even less. So there is no chance that there will be anything good coming from any UFO. And these fake alternative media who are making you eager for the disclosure already, they have started. They have pre-written, clever tricks to answer all the doubts that normal people will have. First of all, they will say, of course, but this, they have been mutilating cattle, torturing people with implants. They will say, oh, do you say that all aliens are bad? Of course, they're not. They're good and bad. Well, this is irrelevant because curiosity will kill you, and you will have no way to check after your soul is taken away, and that's what they're after for sure. Another thing pre-learned in this fake media is if you ask them about the implants torture, yeah, that is true, but nowadays you put implant in your dog to know where it is, and you find it. If it is lost, does it mean that you are evil? So you see, implants are not always evil, and sometimes they have very clever pre-learned answers. when I spoke with one of them, I said, but if they were really good, why wouldn't they openly come and tell what they are doing to people instead of abducting them and implant them with horrible pain and torture? Is this something a gentleman race will do? Obviously not. And you know what is the answer? They are doing it undercover because the humanity has not yet evolved enough to understand them. But they are upgrading our genes so that we can understand it. Actually, it is true that humanity has not evolved to understand much of anything at all. That is the truth. But what? So they are not openly connecting, to people, but they think that our governments have evolved enough to understand them. That's why they're in bed with them. Yeah? This is so preposterous. This is so preposterous and so dangerous. But when you are amongst many people who all agree with that, you will also almost agree with them. This is extremely, extremely dangerous. They will use Sufism to confuse the minds of the crowds. They will start talking that, you need to understand it's not so simple, every race is different, and they will start clogging up your mind with all kinds of useless information or straightforward disinformation about the races. Although ultimately this is absolutely meaningless because, as I said, these are shapeshifters. The bad ones, and this is even known from historic literature very, very well, the bad ones, they pretend to be the good ones, depending on what the person they're dealing with believes is good alien or good angel. That's their regular trick. So it depends on the race talk, will be nothing else but useless mental garbage from every point of view. And whoever doesn't fall in that trap from the crowd, then those positive alien agenda people, they will pull out the ultimate convincing trick. Oh, you're unspiritual because you're so negative and you don't believe in the positive, and you're making your dark reality with your doubts. And returning to my recent discussion, which I had with somebody about this, and then an elderly Swiss gentleman joined the conversation, and he said, I have implants for so many years. It shows on X-ray. Even the doctors agreed, so everything is confirmed. He said, and for so many years I'm fine. What does it mean you're fine? Are you completely healthy? I didn't ask him, but it's extremely rare that they are healthy people nowadays at all. And the other thing is, how would you know in what state would your consciousness be if you didn't have the implant? That is the most important question. And Otrok Vyacheslav said that this will be one of the many ways in which they will trick the different groups of people depending on what they believe. Other tricks will be, people who are into finance and this type of thing. They will be tricked by the new and fair financial system, which even Otrok Vyacheslav said will be about very fair distribution of goods. It will be made to function in such a way, and it will be so secure. And that's why I see already people falling for the cryptocurrencies, the quantum financial system. They say that this will be the new age. So what Otrok Vyacheslav said about this system is the distribution itself will be really very well made. The only problem is that it will function just for a couple of months until they run out of supplies, which they have hidden when now at this time they are hiding in when the earth is still giving produce. And once they run out of supplies, the entire system will be pointless. There will be no goods anyway to distribute, and it will be then total hell. But of course, to participate in that system, one would need to get marked, and then it will be again the same deal, selling one's soul for a couple of weeks or months of partial relief of suffering. very, very partial, because even if they get better food or goods, still the mental turmoil will be severe. And at least of my own experience, desperation cannot even compare to starvation or any other physical suffering. I think the mental pain is way worse. And I'm really talking from experience about the starvation as well, because during the period of more than 1 year in Peru, I often starved very badly, not because of lack of money, just because the entire setup, it was very difficult to procure something that I could eat in this setup in which I lived. So, but it wasn't a major problem for me. I really lost a lot of weight, but I don't even remember it causing me any particular major inconvenience. So I asked the person who is convinced that the grace will come to upgrade his genes and make him a Superman. I asked him, how can you believe such a thing? Creatures which mutilate cattle, who are in bed with our rotten governments, and they have tortured so many abductees, you think they will upgrade you to something better when they do such things? And he said, yes, such incidents cannot be denied, but this is nothing out of the ordinary. This is how life has been, and the governments, they needed secrecy. We can see that from history. It's normal not always to be upfront. Actually, this answer he gave me is revealing the ultimate truth, which is, by the way, underlined in the Bible, in the Quran, and in the Vedas again and again. Whatever you believe in, that's where you will go to. And people who believe that it is normal, all this torture and secrecy, by the way, quoting only the very recent period of history when lunatics and devils in human skin run the show, that type of history they mention only. They don't mention Satya Yuga, when people lived disease-free and the kings were up front. But when they consider all that normal, whoever considers all that to be normal and not out of the ordinary, they will go to a place where that is indeed the norm. While those who believe until the end that these things are utterly unacceptable for a normal human, well, those are the meek who will inherit the earth, a very different earth, where people don't need painful implants or surgeries, just because there isn't anybody to develop all these diseases for them, or feed them genetically modified food, or organize unnecessarily pollution to make them sick, and in this way talk them into painful and often harmful medical or so-called medical procedure. And as far as the chief director of all UFOs, the Antichrist, the Dajjal, Otrok Vyacheslav described him as this, very ugly, and his face is white like flour with red eyes, and he stinks terribly, like hell. However, the people cannot feel neither the smell nor they can see his real face. Instead, they see a mental image, and everybody sees a different mental image. Most of them find him very attractive, and also they see him as if the lord of their own religion. Or at least his admirers will have that type of visual perceptions. And because he will travel so fast, within seconds he will reach one city after another. That's why people will be under the impression that he is at few places simultaneously. Even in the hometown of Otrok Vyacheslav, Chebarkul, he will be there a few times, although it's a relatively very minor place. And his performances, he described him like this: first the people will ask him questions, and he will be, of course, the master of all deceptive liars, speakers. He will give very convincing answers, and after that he will show miracles to the people. Now, what type of miracles? For example, they will have let's say a wagon or a big container empty, and they will place only one container of milk or whatever, some sweets. Then they will close the doors and open again, and it will be full inside of thousands of such packets of milk, and he will give them to the people, to the hungry people, and they will be real. They will eat, and it will be a real milk, and they will believe. Now, what they don't see and what they don't understand is that these evil spirits, they are masters of fast traveling, and in this short moment while they close the container before they open it again, within 1 second, the evil spirits, they are able to transport all the other yogurt from their storage place. So this is a very simple logistics trick. Just because people don't understand that the devils have this ability to move very fast, they don't have this gift from God to really create something nice like milk. They can only destroy things, they can lie about things, make things look what they're actually not, but they cannot create something nice. And once their old supplies of powder milk or whatever they have made it from, once they run out of that, these tricks, they won't be possible anymore, because there won't be any real food. Only one of the Antichrist's so-called miracles will be real, and that will be fire from the skies. And that will be actually a simple chemical reaction, because the skies are already full with so much flammable pollution, and that it will be very easy to achieve with easy chemical and physics setup. So that will be the only real thing he will show. Otherwise, the rest will be like holographic images with tangible effects, or how to say, illusions, hallucinations, but yet people will think that they touch a real thing, because the Antichrist, he's a fallen angel. He's got magic powers to make people believe certain things. So he's got powers of this type to create such hallucinations at his will. And the nearer we get to the very end, the more the devils and their chief will be showing their real form in which they wander in hell. For example, Vyacheslav described such an incident, and the devils, they would set up tables right on the streets to serve the people food and lots of alcohol, so that people overeat and they do binge drinking, drink until they faint from drinking. And as they get, and the devils will personally serve them. In the beginning, they will hide in human form so that they don't scare the people, but when they see that they're like dead drunk, they will start showing them their real form. And it will be so horrible and so ugly and so disgusting that the totally drunk people will become sober in a second and will beg them to hide their ugliness, because they can't tolerate it. It's dead scary. The Antichrist will also release a very, very strong hypnosis at the time when he starts traveling, and it will be like almost irresistible to all people to go and see him out of curiosity, because from what they hear, this would be the most interesting thing to see ever, everything he says and shows. So it's important to understand that at that time it will not only be igniting the play of curiosity within people, it will go way further than that. Everybody will have to deal with black magic which takes possession of one's thoughts in terms of extreme desire to go and meet him and see his performances. Of course, everybody who goes and meets him in person and listens to him and sees his tricks, one will become marked even without accepting any other mark previously. And that is the extra bonus which one gets by visiting the big show. As far as all these evil races abducting humans for all kinds of hideous purposes, experiments, food supply, slavery, rape, to start with, this has been going on, we know that very well. The way they do it is that they set traps, and then they use their ability to quickly transport anything they wish very fast to their own place. So they will set up like an invisible mesh, like a giant cobweb, somewhere at the place which is so a bit obscure, so that the bypassers will not see that a person just vanishes over there. And unsuspecting people can get caught there, and they will disappear. They will not know, and within the blink of an eye, they will end up in another world. But not always, because the trap, it's got a location here on earth, and even souls whom the devils do not have the right to abduct, even they can happen to go through that cobweb. So what happens then is they get caught, but then they get bounced back, they get rejected. And this is the reason for which Otrok Vyacheslav explained sometimes people, often without understanding themselves what happened, they end up in another city just in the split of a second. Or there have been some instances, actually well documented, a ship disappeared and appeared in another time, in another continent, a train, there was also an incident with train, you can find all these things. There are documentaries. With people, it has happened really a lot. For example, one of the interesting cases was could have been the Latvian knight found on the Easter Islands with all the appropriate clothing and coins of his land. It could have been something like this. What kind of souls bounce back and cannot be caught in the satanic trap? Vyacheslav called them real Christians, but I think for the vocabulary I'm using is souls loyal to the Lord. And I will explain why I suggest such a paraphrasing. Like, for example, Vyacheslav also helped Muslims, and when he spoke, although he was Orthodox proponent himself, but sometimes he also helped sincere Muslim and Catholic people. For example, when he spoke about Islam, he said that Muhammad was a real prophet of the Lord. So he was not rude to the other religions. I see this with many, for example, Christians. They think it's a good thing to say that Islam is a wrong religion. And it seems to me that in overall, Vyacheslav did not speak much about the problems within the Orthodox Christianity, although he clearly said that now you should go to church, you should do confession and purify yourself all the time. But when the church starts openly going on the side of the Antichrist, then you should stop going to church. You can only search for real priests who in secret will conduct the proper rituals until the end, who will not accept the new documents, who will not accept the change of the symbols of the faith. But as far as the Christianity before that, when they were asking him, many people asked, how is the Bible? Is it genuine? He always said, yes, the Bible is good, it is genuine. That he said to the people. However, once in one conversation, when they started talking deeply about the Bible, he said something completely different. That there is a copy, he said, of the real Bible, but that is kept under very high security in Vatican. It is about 70 very thick books and many others with genuine commentaries clarifying all those 70 books. He said it's such a big thing that one cannot properly study, even in one full lifetime, at least the lifetime of a current human. So it seems that in terms of the Bible, he did say a contradictory thing. The access to the real Bible, of course, he said, is strictly prohibited. So his mother only reported that. He said, this is what he said, I don't know how to comment. But my personal understanding is that when he was saying to the people in general that, yes, this is the proper Bible, it was just to encourage them to stick to whatever Orthodox Christianity they can at that time, because he said all the major branches, and probably even all branches who are officially registered with official presence, they will be forced to turn to the Antichrist, or they will not exist in the end times. That is for sure. However, speaking about the current form, or the form, because now we are at the transition point, or let's say the form that was there 30-40 years ago when he spoke, that form of Orthodox Christianity would still relatively save a bit larger percentage of believers than, let's say, the Catholic branch. There are some real Catholics as well. They have also contacted me. All of them said we belong to some older form of Catholicism. I'm not sure about its name. It's just a question of percentage. It is not that many Orthodox people will survive. No. Vyacheslav said, sadly, at the end there will be very, very, very few people left. So, but no matter how few of them will be, he consciously decided. He said that he got born only because of them. So apparently, it is worth, even if very few souls are saved. And he was saying that actually the Lord didn't want to allow me to go because it's already very dangerous. The dark forces are very, very near to the people, and he understood that they will be hunting him down and eventually murder him, which they did. So he said that Christ himself didn't want him to go. He said it's too much suffering for a soul like you, but the Holy Trinity, she gave him extra powers and decided to send him for the benefit of those very, very few. So based on these few factors, that's why I think that everybody who remains loyal to the Lord and for whatever reason understands that one should not accept the new passport no matter what, If such a person makes proper arrangements for protection, like with symbols and prayers and mantras, he should be protected from sudden abduction, which doesn't mean that one can afford to be curious. Like Vyacheslav said, if you see in the forest maybe something like a star on the grass moving towards you, it may look very interesting, but everything that looks interesting and out of the ordinary, like moving in the sky or in the grass, all these balls of light, or dark balls, or clouds which walk on the grass, what to speak of special celestial events, all of this will be from the evil spirits during the end time, if you see it, because they will be given green light, that they will have the space for themselves to show all their tricks. And if you notice any of that, at the moment you feel anything like this, the right thing is to run as far as possible and recite, for example, the prayer which I gave at the end of the last video. Now, for example, Muslim people, they have their own prayers for that. I don't know, a short one, a long one is the Ruqya. The Hindu people, they have a wide choice of protection mantras. Probably the most effective, or at least the most famous one, the most famous Shabri mantra is Hanuman Chalisa. Also, the Siddha Kunjika Stotra can be recited daily for a shield, or any other kavacha of any of the benevolent forms of the god will surely do the job if it is recited properly and regularly. And I very highly recommend to wear at least one of the symbols. There are so many varieties also at the end of the last videos, because practically this is the main symbol in Christianity for sure, one of the most major symbol in Hinduism, again for protection, exactly. And I don't know if it is major in Islam, but it's certainly present in lots of traditional old Muslim things, in the decoration of Mecca, in the decorations of countless mosques, the same symbol. It is the main symbol of the Slavic people, the main symbol of the Tibetan people. So again, if you see any ship or anything strange in the skies or crawling towards you, or light or anything, run, hold your symbol and chant whatever prayer you know. If you can remember only the first line of the prayer from the last video, run and chant that and pray with all your heart. Also, speaking about attacks of evil spirits, Vyacheslav explained that because they are getting so technical nowadays, these evil spirits, their installations, they work like this, that they try to penetrate sometimes with sudden streams of this demonic energy and take over the soul. But when it bounces and they cannot get you because you are strong, at these times the people would experience very sudden and piercing pain, no apparent reason. And I can't fail to notice that this is way too often reported in front of computers. The weaker people who become victims of these harmful rays, they absorb them, and for them it's like smooth. They don't feel any pain. The end times have been called like that because that will be the end of the parasitic cancer. There is nothing bad about it. But until that very end happens, we'll see an exponential increase of heavy road accidents with bloody injuries on the roads. And all that will be also actually kind of a trick. Again, it will be organized by these saucer, UFO saucer demons, who simply enjoy seeing and organizing bloody scenes. So what would usually they do is they would blur or obscure the vision of a driver so that he can drive right into another vehicle or right into opposite direction traffic. But the people will not figure out that this is all set up. They will think that the drivers were spaced out, and that was the actual reason for the accident. Also, as the end gets near, more and more airplanes will simply drop. In the beginning, people will attribute it to engine failure or some other technical problem. But eventually, as the saucers of the demons, they will start openly flying before and after the nose of the airplane or its tail, and they will just make it clear that we need the space. That's because they are preparing for war with God, and they need the space for their maneuvers. And their saucers are actually powered by diamonds, which they manufacture from people, from living people. Somehow they harvest the energy of their souls. This could be the abductees, for example, and take this eternal energy of the soul to transfer it into diamond fuel to then power their demonic saucers. And the native language of these demons is all curses and swearing. That's why they introduced it amongst the human race with the help of the TV, the icon of the Antichrist. They're grooming the people to join their hellish lifestyle. So Shri from India is concerned that the people in the West kind of have more information from their local prophecies about the fix that it's the mark of the beast. But the people in India and that entire region of the world, they have not been informed about that. He thinks it's kind of unfair. So he says the people are not even given a chance to take the test. They are not warned. I don't know. Maybe it's not exactly like this from the point of view of God, because on the other hand, you in India particularly, you have been given the knowledge of the three gunas and how to discriminate between the different paths. And that's very well explained. In other regions, people don't have such good explanations at all. So it is possible that God simply expects those who have the knowledge of Sanatana Dharma to put two and two together by themselves. It's pretty obvious that the entire Western influence on India, together with its medicine, which compared to Ayurveda is not even medicine, this is all very, very tamasic. There are endless signs for that. And whoever walks the path of tamas, one reaches hell. That's the destination. The medieval prophet from India mentioned in the previous videos. Basically, at the end, it will not be different in India. A couple of people per village will survive at the very end. And in France, in Russia, everywhere the same. A couple of people per village or per town survive.